Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to amazonsfitmag.com. The Wellness Wednesday podcast is brought to you by GPS Photography and Video. Why photography and video? Because if a photo's worth 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000,000. gpsphotoandvideo.com. I'm going to pass it off to the hosts, IFBB Wellness Pro, Melitza Guerrero, and we got a guest today, Melitza.
Introduce our guest. Hello.
Well, I was going to pass it off to you.
Well, you're doing the introduction. Come on, finish.
All right. Our guest today on Wellness Wednesday is IFBB Kerry McManus, all the way from Europe, England precisely. And she's IFBB Wellness Pro, and both her and Melitza competed in Girl Power in Orlando. So welcome, Kerry. So glad you could join us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So we met in Girl Power Orlando, backstage, teammates at the time.
Yeah.
And how did you feel in Girl Power? What was your experience? What was your feedback?
So that was my first time in America. First time in America, like all together, let alone like as a show. So it was like first time competing, first time coming to the States. Really good. Like I really enjoyed it. Like I felt like the vibe, everything about it was just nice. Like I just felt really, really welcomed. Felt like a pro, just felt like I was at a pro show. And
right.
Yeah, because at that point I kind of was feeling, do I deserve to be a pro? Like, I don't know, some of the shows I'd done, I just hadn't felt like I was at that level. So the show was great. Like the production I felt was great. The girls were great, like talkative. I've never really been to a show where I've made friends or like spoke to people. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed myself at that show. And it was a great start to like my season this year. It got me kind of like set and like good. Feedback wise, it was good because it was Sandy. So it's kind of like she's the top.
You want feedback from Sandy or Tyler?
Yeah, you want their feedback. So, and my feedback at that show was a little bit too much condition. I was bordering on being grainy, which wasn't really new feedback for me. That's kind of like feedback I consistently was getting in my first pro season was condition is a problem, like too grainy. It's too grainy for wellness. That's not what we want to see. And my upper was a little bit too big. So she wanted it to come down a little bit. But nowhere near like figure. Like when I said, oh, like, she's like, no, like I wasn't thinking a figure, like your bottom half's way too big to be a figure girl. She was like, just bring, and I think it's my biceps and my triceps more so than my shoulders. I have short little insertions, so I get quite jacked.
Nice. So I do want to bring up the topic of the conditioning because it seems like people just don't understand that there's like a fine line with wellness. People are so used to constantly condition. And same with me when I show, even with Glenn, I'll be like, no, look. And he's like, no, that's great. And it's like, no, but that's not wellness. We can like what we like. We can love conditioning. I love conditioning. I love striations. I love seeing the muscle fibers, but it's not wellness. And when you're competing in a division, you have to meet the criteria. Otherwise, don't compete. Just look the way that you want to look.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that like you want to touch on that with the whole conditioning thing?
I think it's like you said, there's a lot of people that don't understand the category, kind of like what division you're competing in, and a lot of coaches maybe that don't fully know. And like you said, you like what you like. Some people like condition, and you see it all over kind of social media, and everyone's opinions out there now in this day and age with social media. So everyone's got an opinion, and you get a lot of people talking and hosting shows that are bodybuilder type people who love condition, like, oh, she looked hard, she's conditioned, like she's going to win. And it's not what the category is. Like, that's not what the judges are asking for. And people are just thinking that's the winning look. And I think just get peeled is what people say. Let's peel you down. But we're not girls. We're not, it's kind of bringing you in, I guess, a little bit like bikini girls, and we almost have to reverse ourselves in.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that I almost feel like it's harder to reach
It is
wellness
hard. It's a hard
conditioning
category.
because, you know, figure, physique, bodybuilding, you just keep going and going and going until you're peeled. Wellness, now you're too peeled. Now, oh shit, now we got to fix this.
Yeah, and now we've got to fill you, but we don't want your
Right.
upper half to fill. We want your lower half to fill, but we don't want the.
Yes.
We want some condition, but we don't want the lines. But then we don't want you fat, and we don't want you watery. So you still got to be hard, muscly, but soft and feminine. And then we want your lower half to pop, but we don't want your upper half to pop. So it's like,
yeah, it's definitely like a scientist, like Frankenstein.
It is. Honestly, it is. It's like, let's just mixy blob all these body parts together.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, because I've never done a show overseas, what was like the biggest difference with the shows for you, besides the way that the girls are backstage, as far as like the production and everything?
See, the shows I've done before, other than because I've just done Poland. Poland was a very good show. They tend to do the shows like straight away. There's no kind of like pre-judging and then finals.
Okay.
They're very much like they tan you sometimes on the same day. There's no like base tan. So I did Portugal, and Portugal tanned you on the day of the show, and obviously Poland did the same. That's just the way I guess some of the tanning companies like to do it, and it's very much like do the show, come off stage, come back round, on for finals. So there is no chance to
that's interesting.
change yourself, so to speak. There's no like 3 hours to eat a burger and fill yourself up. It's just off and back round again. So it's
right. So you have to be ready pretty much. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. See, I always felt like the whole prejudging and finals, the way that they do it, I feel like it could be done better, because I feel like if you're doing prejudging and then giving people like 6 hours before finals, my thing, I feel, give people their feedback in prejudging.
Yeah.
Give people their feedback, and now your coach really has to work. Let's see how good your coach is. They got 6 hours to fix this for your finals, you know? I think that would be like a game changer. Otherwise, I feel like might as well just do it all, you know, like they do.
Yeah, well, that's what confused me a little bit, because I guess it's only like big shows like the Arnolds, the Olympia, and the Men's Open that get the actually judged in finals by the looks of it. Because I was expecting that we would get some sort of feedback. Then I would have a chance to kind of change myself and maybe change my placing. Right. That didn't really happen. It was kind of like I did ask, and because obviously I didn't know no different. I was like, oh, what would you like me to change? And they were like, we can't tell you any feedback until after the show. And I was like, oh. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to improve my placing then? Like, if I don't know what's wrong with me. So I knew it was conditioned, so I went away and ate. But when I come back, it was kind of like, I don't know, unless I'd come back looking like Francielle, I don't think my place was going to like change.
Right, sort of right. Thing.
It was a little bit like, what was the point in going away? I might as well have just gone off stage and quickly come back on 10 minutes later and been happy.
I agree. That's always been something that I've always just thought about. I'm like, that just kind of makes no sense to make us wait 6 hours to then be told our feedback. But hopefully they change it one day, because I think that'll be like I said, it'll be a game changer. Like you can literally go from probably even like 4th to 1st.
That's what I mean. You know? Yeah, it gives you that chance to just rectify. Like, do you need to eat or do you not? Do you need to go and wash some tan off? Like, do you know what I mean?
Right. Okay, so what was your placing in Orlando?
Oh crap. What was I? What did I get?
What was I? I think I got 10th. I think you got 9th. We were very close to each other. Yeah, we were very close to each other. And what was your placing in Poland? Second place. All right. So what did you do different? I know that you changed coaches. I saw that. What was done different going from Orlando to Poland?
Supplementation, changing sort of supplementation. Cardio came down. Food went up. My fats majorly went up. Obviously, I'd only just sort of started working with a coach, so it was still kind of trying to figure out what my body does, and just me sort of saying I can eat, because it was look it up kind of thing. So every like day I was checking in, like from that show to this show, it was daily check-ins, because I changed so fast. He was having to change me, like give me more food like daily. So every day it was like, another 10 grams of fat. Like, oh, you've lost weight again, like another 10 grams of fat. Because by the time I got home from Orlando and was trying to get ready for Poland, I dropped like 2 kilos. And I was like, I've just been told I'm too conditioned and I've just dropped another 2 kilos. So I was like, this needs to get like fixed. Like I can't have it. So constant monitoring, really softening me up. All my upper body kind of training came away. My partner had to lift my weights around the gym so that I wasn't active. Yeah, because when you're trying to like build your legs, people don't mean you're stacking 5, 6, 7, like 25 kilo plates on and off. Like
you're
that's
basically working out your arms. Yeah.
I would be like pumped, like I'd just done an arm workout, like my delts and arms would be popping. So I had to keep getting my partner to come and like take the weights off. So I'd be like, can you do?
And does he compete as well or no?
He wants to, yeah, he should be doing his first show next year, hopefully.
Okay, good. That's awesome.
What's his category?
Wants to do open bodybuilding, so obviously like grow.
Mm-hmm.
The big boys.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, well, you can lift my plates in. It's like extra help for you.
Yeah.
So you got to Poland. You're on stage. Actually, you're backstage. How are you feeling backstage in Poland compared to Orlando? You know, because everyone kind of knows when you're backstage, you know, you're looking around, you're looking at yourself, you see how you feel. You're like, shit, I'm too freaking conditioned or I'm not conditioned enough. Like, you just know, you know? How are you feeling?
This show was a weird one because like as much as like I knew I was kind of conditioned, I do like that look as well. And like, I don't like to go into a show thinking, I would rather be told you're too conditioned than you were fat. Personally, like, I just think it's like, you know, you were too conditioned, bring it down, rather than like a bit soft. Like,
you need to come a little bit leaner. You're like, I'm fat.
Like, so I knew like in Orlando, I felt confident in my look, and I liked the look because I like the muscle look and it looks good. But obviously not for the category. So when I saw kind of my physique going into Poland, it was new for me. And I almost felt like I was fat. Like I was like, oh, this, I don't know. I don't know what to think of my physique because I've never seen it on stage like this. So I don't know. For me, it was like, I've softened up, I've lost some size. Like it's, is this what they want kind of thing? So it was whole 100% trust in the coach that you know what you're doing, because at the minute, like I have no clue what's gonna like happen with this physique. Like you're telling me I can win with this physique, so I've got to just trust that this is the look. I was really nervous going to this show. Like I had like anxiety backstage. Like I had to keep being told to like chill because you're gonna wash out like your look. And I was having to like do little breathing mantras because I was like, I could do well, and that was the pressure. Like I could do well, but also I don't know. I don't know what this physique is gonna be.
Right, about. And you literally don't know until you step on stage and then look at your pictures, because you can see yourself every single day, but you just don't know what it's gonna translate to on stage.
Yeah, and seeing like there was variation in the looks of the girls. So the girl that won I think she'd come second in New York. And she was quite big. She's a very tall girl as well. And she looked phenomenal. And I just thought, I've just been told to like downsize, like and soften up. And she's like dense. And I'm like, oh no, have I like frigged it, bringing a soft look to Europe?
But you were like literally right there with her. It's just that we get in our heads so much, and you know, then you see yourself on stage and you're like, oh, I was like so similar looking to her.
And I was like, okay. And then you think like, oh, would the look that I have had at the last show gone better here, or would I have come second call outs if I'd have brought that grainy look again? So to get like, so I was nervous. So to get the first sort of call out was like, a
relief. Yeah, I bet.
Like thank goodness, like none of this, because if I'd have heard that same crap again about like, you look good,
it gets tiring. Yeah, it gets like, tiring, especially when, in order to get to that conditioning, there's a lot of suffering involved. So then to be told we don't want that.
My partner was like, we're not going in like looking like that again. You're not paying to go to another show, like to fly, to compete, to just be told you're too conditioned. Like, what an actual waste of our money and everyone's time. And we know consistently that's what we don't want to see.
Mm-hmm. I agree. What was your feedback for this show?
A little bit more size on my legs and glutes, which is not a problem because obviously we pulled all kind of supplementation and we downsized effectively to kind of soften what had happened over like what we'd built kind of thing. So we had to kind of take me backwards a little bit, and now we're feeding to fill up again.
Nice. What's the next show?
Empro Spain. So Empro Classic in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. How do you feel? You feel good?
Yeah, well, Tyler's judging this one, so that's going to be nice to have Tyler's feedback. And we've come in, we're getting bigger now, so we're obviously put a few things back in, and now we're growing a little bit into this show. So
nice.
This will be your third show of the year?
Yeah, my third.
Okay. Do you have a pitch count where you like, okay, at some point you're going to shut it down, or you feel like the Energizer Bunny, you can go and go?
To be honest, the first kind of like seasons that I did like, I mentally used to take it quite hard. My first sort of pro season, I almost felt like defeated and very like negative on myself when I didn't do well. I'd be very, very harsh on myself, like, well, I'm just not good enough kind of thing, and take it so personally about the second call outs, and that, well, maybe I'm just not supposed to do well kind of thing. And like a lull of just 1 show, 2 shows, and then I was like, no, I'm done. Like, I'm done. That was terrible kind of thing. And then this season we were like, no, we're going to make a run of it. We're going to like get in front of the judges, get your name out there, because turning up with a good physique, but also presenting yourself and then showing that you can adapt, presenting yourself again, showing that you took the feedback, and they keep seeing your sort of name appearing and you taking the feedback on board, I think is needed.
And it's important. It's important for an athlete. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you disappear, I don't think they see your name. They didn't really know you. And unless you waltz on like Eduarda Bazira, like, I don't think.
Right, unless you're like just that good. Right?
Unless you're some genetic
doing
anomaly.
Just like 1 show or 1 or 2 shows a year, I don't think it's enough for any athlete that really wants to make it to the top. You know, because you know, unless your feedback is, oh my God, you're just so small that you need an incredible amount of density, which if you're a pro athlete, like, I don't think you will need a year off for some density. You know, by then you should be pretty good. But doing just 1 or 2 shows a year, I don't think anyone should do that unless you're just doing it as a hobby. Yeah,
so we planned like 4, so I picked 4 shows. I would have liked to have done a few in America, and it would have been really nice to have gone on to like Pittsburgh and stuff, but again, lucky because I probably wouldn't have had enough time to change from Florida to Pittsburgh. So, but we picked 4. So I got 4 that I know on the calendar that like I wanted. I work, so I had to like obviously put that in my calendar at work for time off. But like depending on how they go, like I don't feel wrecked from this prep. I'm not in the ground. Like I'm always on.
You look like your energy's still pretty good at this point.
I'm on like high food. I'm not like, people think, oh, you must be like, you're not eating much. And I'm like, no, like I'm just shy of 3,000 calories. Like I'm not suffering. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy to, if money pays, I can carry on and go to another show, and timing I can get off work, I'll go and rack up a few shows this year. We've got the look. We've got a nice look. I think what am I going?
Right. Now it's just tweaking it. Right. You know, you have good density, you have good conditioning. Now you just listen to the feedback and make your tweaks.
Yeah. And we've spaced them about like 3-4 weeks apart, the shows. So it gives me enough time out of back to adjust the body and get back in again.
Okay. How old are you?
36.
Okay, we're the same age. Yay.
There you go.
Do you have any kids?
No, just my 2 cats.
Okay, I got 2 cats too.
Yeah, I like my children. They honestly are like kids.
Oh yeah, they are. So did you? I'm assuming that you did not start with a background in just wellness. What was your first category that you competed in?
Figure.
Okay, me too.
Yeah. Well, wellness wasn't about. Wellness was so I didn't like start bodybuilding until really late. I wasn't really into bodybuilding. So I used to be in the military. So I was in the Navy for like 15 and a half years. So I did sport and kind of like fitness. And then I did a bit of CrossFit, Olympic lifting type stuff. And then just kind of went and did a training session with a friend. And then was like, wow, I really like this type of training. And then got into bodybuilding. Did kind of like a diet, and then like everybody like, oh, someone said, oh, you should get on stage, like off the back of it. And figure
I feel like
was
that's like most bodybuilders like backstory. Someone just says you should get on stage, or are you a bodybuilder? Do you compete? And then like we're just like, no, but okay, let me try it.
It was just like training, doing my own training, and then my body was just changing real quick, and I thought, why not? Like, why not test myself, kind of thing. And I did like my first show, and there wasn't wellness. Figure was like the only kind of category. I could never have got into bikini. Like my butt was just too big. Like I just couldn't downsize my butt. It was even in figure, it was like square. Like it was.
I started in figure too, and it was like the same issue. It was pretty much like the only division that was there that I felt like, okay, this is the one that I fit the most. But then I would constantly, like, the feedback would be like, bring down your glutes, bring down your legs a little bit, and then I was just like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. And then wellness came, and I was like, oh shit, this is it.
Like I did one show. I did like my first one little figure show, got a taste kind of thing. And then I don't think I did. I think I took, so that prep like wrecked me. Like it, like I don't think I competed for like, I just went away for like a year where I just was like, I need to sort my body out. I need to sort my relationship out with food. It was one of those like 1,000 calorie.
Like a bikini
a bit hours cardio preps, like one of those in the hole preps. And it like my relationship with food when I came out of it was awful. I just was, I would like almost like where I would feel bad for eating something, like, and then I need to
were you being coached at that time, or did you kind of coach yourself?
Yeah, I had a coach, and it was very old school, like turkey and asparagus type old school.
Okay, so me and Glenn were talking, and let me ask you this: do you think anyone is able to beat the Brazilians?
Yeah, well, yes, but it depends. I think the top ones are going to be moved about.
There's a lot of new faces going to the Olympia this year.
Yeah, I see Eduarda's look. I mean, I love Eduarda's look, and I love Fran's look, and Issa's one of my favorites and stuff. But I do feel Eduarda's going to ruffle and kind of go in there. I feel like she's going to be at the top for a little bit. I do think people will pull through. It is their kind of category. I don't think they're incapable of being dethroned and knocked out of the mix, but I think people are going to start creeping into that top 10. I mean, Rayanne is kind of, if you look where Rayanne started, she's already kind of getting knocked out down and out of the way, and people are starting to come in. So yeah, I think things are going to be interesting.
This Olympia is going to be interesting. I'm excited because there's so many new girls going into this Olympia. So I'm excited to see where they're going to place. You know, like you said, some of like the OGs are starting to, their look is starting to not kind of be the look anymore.
And my partner asked me that the other day. We were talking in the car, and he was like, "Oh, where did she place?" kind of thing, and who do you think is going to be top 5? And I was like, and I was like, I don't even know if some of them are going to make like top 10. I was like, there's a lot of new faces.
It's, I feel like they're trying to, I think they're trying to like bring that soft look back. Because I feel like that was like initially what they started with, and then they kind of went like a little bit more hard, a little bit more dense, which is more of like Rayanne's look. And now you can see that it's just they're focused so much on like the waist to glute and leg ratio. Like that's like really like their focus. Like feedback to everyone I feel this year has something to do with their waist. It's a
Yeah.
constant waist. So
It
I
was.
think that they're
The winners were all like small waist. She's got a
yes.
really small waist, and it's all shape kind of now as over like the mass. And I think there was a big, because it come from Brazil, and I think the original OG wellness look was mass. I think they kind of started like that, and obviously new category. They didn't really know where they were going. They sort of went a little bit off some of the Brazilians, some of the looks. But then again, some of the girls were, if you look back at the first Pittsburgh Pro, weren't that big. But the girls are still bigger now. I just think they're trying to get away from the letting it stray into kind of bodybuilding. They're trying to focus on the health, and they're trying to keep the femininity because it should be feminine like bikini. So I think the non-feminine mass monsters are starting to get a little bit pushed, and the prettier kind of more feminine little waist shape is starting to come back.
How do you feel? I'm gonna ask you this because me and my girlfriend are constantly like, we can't stand this. When, all right, how can I put this? When they take that look, right? That mass look that we're talking about, the one that they tell us that they don't want. When they take that look and they award that look, but then you see them at the bigger shows and they're getting like 13th place, 15th place. We feel like, hey, regardless of condition, if that's not the look you want, pick someone with the standard look that you want and just let them know you need to come in more conditioned or, you know, whatever, because I feel like it gives like a bad message to other girls when, you know, this person was conditioned, but it's not the look that we want. So then people see that and they're like, okay, I need to get that big.
Yeah.
And then that's when, you know, the confusion comes in, because then they do a bigger show. They do like the Olympia, the Arnold, and that big look is getting constantly pushed back.
I think judge dependent as well. Like we said, when we said about everybody's got, because it's people judging, everybody's got a particular like that they kind of like out of the looks. And sometimes I think some people are still confused with wellness, even like the judging. I think when you get a mishmash lineup where you get like the big girls, big glutes, like pretty big girl, and then you get small, then you get really conditioned. I think they don't know kind of what to go for.
Right.
Ideally, they should have a picture maybe of like Fran and Issa next to them, and we should then see who resembles
closest.
Yeah, who fits the standard, because obviously what you're picking is nowhere near the standard. But like sometimes, like they're always saying, they can only judge what's in front of them. So if they think that that person had more muscle and the little one didn't have enough muscle and the other conditioned one was far too conditioned, it's like, is this the middle ground? And then they get to a show where everybody aligns a little bit more with the top, and then they find themselves way down the bottom because everybody else aligns a lot better and they don't fit the mix. So it's who shows up, and it's tactics, I guess, of picking a show and who's in your show. You see some people and you think, flipping hell, like, how'd they win that show? And then they don't come anywhere in another show, and it's like, well, unfortunately it was, or fortunate for them, it was the lineup that they fell into.
And wellness is still pretty new. I think it's like 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah.
This is the fifth year going into the Olympia. So
I
the
think
fifth
that
year
now is that they're actually starting to be like, okay, this is the criteria. You know, even with me, like, I'm not really that big. I'm dense, but I'm not really that big. At least I don't think so. I don't know.
not by height anyway, because you look like
well, yeah, definitely not by height. But you know, like even now with my trainings, like I don't train as hard as I know I can, just because I know, like, you don't need to put on all this mass. You know, if you get on stage with all this mass and you're so tiny, you're gonna look like a female bodybuilder. Like, you don't need to. So I don't even like train hard anymore. You know, I train to failure and pretty moderate weight, you know, but like training super hard and, oh my God, let's see if I can squat 2 plates, 3 plates, you know, like I don't do that anymore.
I do for fun sometimes. So
every once in a while, you're like, let me see, put 3 plates.
When I was off season, it was nice because I was like feeling strong, and it was like, oh, like let's feel kind of like my squats. But then being mindful then what was that doing to the rest of my physique. So when I'm coming in and I'm having every session is a heavy session, is that blowing my waist out? Is that thickening my erectors?
Right.
I think when you first start, it's, you know what, get in there, lift, get some mass on your body, because as far as most people are concerned as beginners, you could do with some mass pretty much everywhere. So like get in and lift. For professionals, for people that are already, we're there, we've really just got to go in and sculpt and like be so mindful of like, what is that squat gonna do to
the rest of my body?
Do I need to take squats out? Do I need to swap the hack squat for like I've just swapped hack for a pendulum because I was finding that I couldn't, my back was getting involved in the hack and I couldn't get what I wanted out of my legs with the hack, so I've had to change. So it is for us tiny little, like, we have to be so mindful about what we train and how we train, because it really has that effect on every part of our body.
Especially you know, as enhanced athletes, regardless of whether you're training your upper body, when you're an enhanced athlete and you are lifting heavy, no matter what it is, your upper body is going to grow too. You know, no matter what, whether you're in a deficit or not, your upper body is going to grow as well, you know? So, we definitely have to be very mindful, you know, like I don't stack like 45s anymore just because and I'm so short. So I literally have to like bring it up, you know? So I'm like 25.
Like,
exactly. I'm literally working on my shoulders. So I'm just constantly like walking with my little 25 pounds or my 10 pounds, just because now I'm like,
I roll the plates. If they're low, I get them off and I just roll them across the floor.
Them. Yeah. You know, because my feedback was a constant also, bring your shoulders down, bring your shoulder down. And I'm like, I don't even work them out. And then I started thinking about it and I'm like, what you do? Like you work out your legs 4 times a week and you use 45 plates. So you're working out your upper body 4 times a week too, you know? So as when you're a pro athlete, again, that goes back to your division. If this is the division that you're competing in, then you got to take your feedback. And, you know, I used to love working out my shoulders. I used to love working out my back. But I don't need that in this division. Now, there are some girls that even in this division, they still work out their shoulders and their back, you know, but I can't, you know, I can't even pump them up because it looks like I just took like 35 pounds shoulder press, you know? So I just completely just don't even touch them. And I'm like, all right, I got what I got through figure, and thank you, figure. And, you know, that's it. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. You have to be mindful of the way that you train. You have to be mindful, even squatting, like good mornings, you know, with your rectors and your traps, like all of that can come into play. And people don't really think about that. They think squat, oh my God, your legs and your glutes. But no, a squat works out your entire body. Entire body. So if you're not being mindful of how you squat and it's just about weight, I can guarantee that for a lot of people, 80% of that weight is in their back and not even in their legs or their glutes.
Yeah. And there's so many times in my session where it's like really knowing your body and I stop, even though like it might say, oh, you've got 3 or 4 sets on like this workout or something. Sometimes I'm like, my glutes are done. Like I know when they're done because I'm now getting a back pump and my glutes have turned off. So it's like, well, I'm finished. I've done 1 set of good mornings and they don't feel anywhere like they should. I'm stopping. And most people still carry on doing that. Let's just keep, let's do my 3 or 4 sets. And for me, it's like, well, no, my glutes they're done. Like they're not on anymore. Like they're not participating now.
I'm the same way. Especially because with me, like my legs, I can go on forever. But with my glutes, it's hard to get that connection. So once I have it, it's like, I got to utilize that time. Like, I don't even like want anyone to speak to me because I'm like, that connection is there. And I got like 1 hour before it's gone, you know? And like, once it's gone, if I have exercises left, you know, if I can't connect, then I can't connect and that's it. You know, I feel my quads taking over, my hamstrings taking over. And I'm like, that's it, I'm done. You know? Is there anything you want to ask, Glenn?
Hey, I'm just enjoying listening to you guys. But I would ask you, I mean, to be fair and full disclosure, I'm a photographer and a fan. It's okay to be both. I am the quintessential participation trophy. So you always look good to me. So I'm not judging. I'm not looking from a judge's perspective, but when you look at it, you have the distinct pleasure and honor, if you will, to develop the largest muscle in the human body, which is the gluteus maximus. What techniques do you guys use to do that? I mean, what exercise work for you versus what wouldn't work? And then also, Kerry, you're how tall?
5'3".
You're 5'3", and Melitza, how tall are you?
4'11".
Yeah. I can tell you,
I'm
Kerry,
literally always the smallest one on stage.
Kerry, you look really tall on stage.
She was next to me.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that comparison, and then again in Pittsburgh. But anyway, back to the main question: is it harder because you're slightly taller to develop your glutes versus Melitza? It would seem like it's easier, and we're talking about the body types of ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph.
A lot of people do say I look taller, and I've got a long torso, so I do actually in my photos. People expect me to be a lot taller than I am. Like people see my picture and be like, "Oh, how tall are you?" And I'm like 5'3", and they're expecting me to be 6 or something. So I do have quite
exactly what I thought.
Yeah, I have a long torso, but I've always been blessed, I would say, in the glute department. I did gymnastics, and even like as a kid, I had big glutes. And I used to get called fat ass, like at school. Like it wasn't a good thing. Like having big glutes and legs when I grew up was, no, we want a thigh gap, we want skinny little legs. So I used to get bullied for having like big glutes and legs. So I ran, I did everything to like try and get them down. And now I'm like, kick my younger self, because I should have been like developing from a kid and they were huge.
Yeah.
No, I struggle to grow my glutes. If anything, the priority in my off season was to get my legs to balance more with my glutes, because my glutes were kind of overpowering my hamstrings.
Right.
And so it was trying to get my hamstrings to turn on because my glutes would just take over. So I find kickbacks are quite staple movements for me, like all kind of variations to hit the glute. I like kickbacks quite a lot. RDLs, I like hip thrusts, single leg work, because I do have one lagging sort of tie-in that likes to not do as much as the other one. So I've got a lot of single leg work in. Yeah, pretty much they're kind of like my favorite moves. And sumo deadlifts, they're kind of like my favorite staple movements. But my glutes respond quite quick, really. They're on, like I can feel them like pretty quick. They fire. So,
no squat, huh?
I did in my off season, squatted and stuff to build my legs up, and then like I said, I had to kind of start thinking, is this going to start kind of blowing my waist out? And I got really
another thing is, like, people think that squats give you big glutes, but they actually don't.
No, it was to bring my legs up.
It's a very mediocre exercise, squats. I mean, it's good for your overall health, but as far as like glute building, squats is very mediocre.
Yeah, they were on my quads.
You really have to know. Yeah, you really have to know how to squat and connect your glutes in order to grow your glutes, because you can squat and your glutes can be doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So my squats were like quad day, so I would have sort of more knee over toe kind of close for squats. If I ever kind of like squatted when I was doing some sort of glute, they were more like a variation of a sumo squat. So there was like a bit more just kind of sitting back into the glute, kind of like a little bit falling onto the heel, just so the weight was in the glute.
Right.
But really lightweight, not even like putting heavy weight on for them. It would be lightweight for those ones. Whereas when I was squatting for my quads, it was like
heavy.
Yeah.
Melitza, same question. How do you develop your glutes?
Well, first and foremost, I think that the whole being tall and being short thing is a myth.
Really?
Short people don't develop muscle quicker than tall people. We just have less space. That's it. However, I would be the first to say, if you're a tall person with more muscle, everyone's eye is going to go to you. They're not going to go to the short person. So that's why even at the Olympia, the top 5, they're not 4'11". I think Issa's the smallest one there. Everyone else is taller. I think Eduarda is what, like 5'4", and Fran is like around 5'4" as well. So everyone else there is on the taller side. And actually, I will be the first to also say that I think for wellness, there comes a certain extent where being short can be a disadvantage. Where,
Really?
like I said, I have to pull back on my training, because if I get too big, I'm going to look like a female bodybuilder on stage.
Yeah.
Where the tall girls can keep going hard, 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 because their muscle is going to keep expanding, where mine is going to only has this much space. So, yeah, I feel like the whole, oh, short people, you guys are so lucky because you can put on muscle. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, because now guess what? Now I'm on stage and I look like a female bodybuilder because I put on so much muscle. So everyone has to do what is needed for their body to fit the criteria. For some people, it's more muscle, so they need to train harder. For other people, they already have the density, so they don't need to train as hard. For me, my only thing is my glutes, and nail my conditioning. So since my legs appear so big, and my glutes, I had to turn them off when I did figure. I think this is like the first year that I'm actually 100% like can instantly connect with my glutes. You know, and there is, I think for the most part, everyone does the same exercises. There's no one exercise that, oh my God, you must do this to build your glutes. Every wellness athlete is going to have pretty much the same protocol. What makes a difference is how you're genetically shaped. Where with me, you know, I carry most of my weight on my quads and my hamstrings. Again, I also had to shut off my glutes. So now I'm trying to like really get my glutes to catch up with my hamstrings and my quads. So I don't really even train my quads and hamstrings heavy anymore. It's just kind of like moderate weight. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of hip thrusts, a lot of kickback variations. I love good mornings. I love doing like good morning variations. Sometimes I'll do it like on the Smith. Sometimes I'll do it on the V squat. And I love RDLs. I think RDLs are really, really good. As long as you're doing it right. Because those are one of the biggest exercises, RDLs, that like you see so many people doing it, and just by visually looking at someone, unless you're trained, you don't really know what muscle they're working. So RDLs, you can work your hamstrings or your glutes or both. But yes, a lot of people do RDLs and they work their back instead. So you have to be very mindful of the way that you work out, because, you know, simply just looking at someone, you're like, okay, she's wellness, she does RDLs. And then you're just like, so the motion is down and up. And now you're doing the down and up motion, and now your back hurts, and you have no idea why your back hurts. It's because you aren't training properly, you know? So at the end of the day, it all comes down to training. It comes down to your feedback. It comes down to your genetics. Some people, like Kerry, genetically had a nice muscle butt. You know, I genetically always had muscle legs. You know, even in my off season, I can have like 0 lines, and you're like flex your quads, and bam, you see lines. You know, so I always have lines in my legs. Kerry always had a big bubble butt. So it just depends. So because of my feedback, I gotta work to like pretty much get my ass like Kerry, and now she needs to build her legs back up. So
now that's 4'11", not with the heels. With the heels, what are you, 5 feet?
Damn good. I'm not wearing 1-inch heels.
Hey, I'm just saying. Hey, you wouldn't want me to be in charge of the wellness category, then. I'm just saying.
No,
Now,
I
how
have
tall are
like
your heels,
4-inch heels. So like about 5'3", 5'4".
Okay. And Kerry, with your heels, how tall are you?
What are they? 4? What are they? 4? 5'6", probably 5'7".
Okay.
I guess.
And yeah, that's what really makes you look so tall. But then I think, in contrast, maybe the focus, it's on your glutes, but it's more on your legs as well, or no?
Yes and no. There's
Okay.
no that's another thing. People think, oh my God, wellness, the biggest glutes, and it's not. It's not about the biggest glutes, it's not about the biggest legs. It's not about Kerry has a bigger ass, so she's gonna win, or Melitza
Mhm.
has bigger legs, so she's gonna win. It's about symmetry for your body. The symmetry that they want on the lower body that looks good on your body. So it's not
It's
about
just the
having the
same.
biggest ass.
It's just the same as like when they judge the men. They don't say like, oh well, you know, Derek Lunsford had the best back, so he was going to win. It's like, okay, he won that pose, but
Mm-hmm.
there's other poses, and that's the same for us. Like, does your right
Mm-hmm.
side look as good as your left side? Does your front pose have the same S shape? Have you got the glute from the side? Have you got leg muscle? Like, there's all the other things. Just because someone comes in with like big glutes, they're not necessarily going to win. I think sometimes it happens because it's, you know, the lineup is other people haven't got what's needed, and it's kind of like,
Yeah.
well, they got some good glutes kind of thing, and they kind of fit, so they win. That doesn't necessarily mean that every show someone that turns up with like the biggest glutes is going to win. I mean, even like one of Fran's feedback from Sandy, wasn't it? Her glutes were too overpowering for her
Yeah.
legs.
Her glutes, yeah, she grew them too much in her off season.
So it's balance for and she knows what's balanced for her physique, and
Mm-hmm.
that obviously for them wasn't what they were looking for. And it's just that fine balance of everything, getting the shape, getting the flow. Like we said, the small waist, the glutes, the legs. Do your hamstrings match your glutes? Do they match your quads? Like, are you all kind of
Right.
lined up?
They don't want one thing to be more overpowering than another.
Yeah.
Like for
Like
me,
a huge ass butt, and then your
and
hamstrings
then
over
you
here.
got nothing. Yeah.
No.
And like for me, I have like these huge hamstrings that in my side pose, like my hamstrings look like an ass. So it's like, all right, now I need to bring my ass like even bigger, so like I
Uh,
gotta work. I'm bringing my butt now. But yeah, so I don't have like that symmetry yet just because my hamstrings are so overpowering, and that's what
mhm.
happened with Fran when her glute was too overpowering. That's why she got second.
And just like with bikini, they don't want your abdominals to be too overly presentation, right?
Right.
Not
They
shredded
want
as
the
well,
sketching.
but you
Yeah,
got to
like
have
they want
abs,
to see
right?
it. You gotta have abs. You're not lean if you don't have abs. So you definitely need to have abs. But yeah, they don't want like the blocky abs,
Mm-hmm.
where you start seeing that more like in figure and physique, like those really blocky abs where like you can tell that you're probably training them with like weights and stuff.
Right.
That's like a big no for wellness.
It's more kind of
Melissa?
like develop them, and
Mhm.
then when they start getting a little bit of a like kind of mind of their own, you just got to go back to doing vacuums and keeping the
Yeah.
weight tight, because otherwise, like they will just thicken up and they'll just get too much. So it's kind of like diet down. If you need to put a little bit of like ab work in there to bring them up a little bit, do that. Otherwise, they're going to look a little bit washed out without any kind of abs.
Yeah.
And then pull them out and start putting in. Keep your vacuums going just to keep it all
Nice and tight. Yeah.
Yeah. The names that's going out there in wellness that you get used to see with Giselle, Sonny Andrews. I don't think she's competed yet. And then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, Shanique Grant competed this weekend at the Legion Sports. Give me your take on all of this. Do you see a changing of the guard because Giselle used to be so overpowering, and it's just more people entering wellness?
I think there's going to be a mix-up this year at the top. I can see Valkyra coming in, and she was one of my like favorites going into the Olympia actually, and I was like, wow, like she didn't even make top 10 kind of thing. I was quite shocked because I love her physique. So I'm really excited to have seen her dominate the two shows, and now coming into the Olympia, I'm excited to see her. I think she's going to be up there in that top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Giselle looks really good in her off season. She always comes in great, so I still think we're going to see her in that spot. She's still got quite a nice look, and her glutes are just like,
Yeah, and for the most part, she has the very similar look to Eduarda and Franciel, so.
I don't know. I think I watched and I caught the Legion. I saw some of the Legion. Quite a mash kind of like of looks, which is what we
Yes,
talked
there was
about.
a lot. There was a lot.
A show that's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Shredded versus not shredded. This is what we want versus what we don't want.
Dense, really big, really dense, big upper bodies kind of thing, smaller upper bodies. And then where we have kind of the top three, we had not so kind of full glutes on a back pose. Full glutes on a back pose, but then the side poses, I think, and the waist and the shape pulled some people into kind of those top positions. Isamara was probably my favorite kind of look for that show. I love her look, kind of like the flow. She's got the glute, the length of the glutes. Her
glutes are crazy.
Yeah, and like the balance. She's just kind of got that shape. I did like the girl that comes second. Nice. It was a sort of a nice look as well. But yeah, I think that was quite a hard show for them. I loved Shanique. She came in really well. I do think she needs more glute to kind of get head to head with some of the wellness girls. I mean, like I think people don't realize sometimes, like the way we've talked about sculpting it and stuff, the density and the glute.
Right.
I don't think people realize it until you're there live.
Yeah.
You can see all the pictures. Even me, when I did like my first pro show, I was like, holy shit.
These like you have cut-in kind of glutes, but are they like full? Like, are they big? Like, because you can just see the difference, I think, in the overall size. That's just time.
I want to talk about this with you. I don't know if you notice, I'm from the Spanish community, so this happens a lot in our community. They get a lot of fake butts, a lot of like butt fillers and everything. So
injection, BBLs. Talk about it.
Yami, she also competes in wellness. She's like the leading like Masters Pro. But anyways, we can constantly see the people who are up there with fillers, and I don't know if the judges just don't notice, because
maybe they don't see it.
A lot of girls get top 5 placings, and then it's like people who know about this stuff, we're like, holy shit, like that person has fillers, and you can tell. Do you think that that's becoming like a thing now for wellness, like the butt fillers?
I've seen it. Like, I've seen the pages, people like aesthetic people that will do the green screen overlay, and they'll be like talking about the butt and stuff. I think the judges are seeing it, because I have seen in certain shows them not rewarded. I have seen people like falling off down the line, people that have had like butt filler and stuff, or have been rumored to have had it and stuff. They've kind of like in their positions have fallen off. Some are, I guess, really well done. Like, are they done by clinics? It's not just like a back doing it in their kitchen, like jabbing up their own bums. They're going and having them done professionally. But then I think, is it any different to men putting synthol in there, or whatever the men are putting into their triceps and their delts? I know it's like, when you don't put filler in, you're kind of like a little bit kind of like noses out of joint, because you're like, I built my glutes, and you're filling your glutes. But then we're all taking something, and if they want to risk putting it in their bum, it is kind of up to the judges to say, we don't want that, and you're not going to be rewarded. They're still rewarding the guys that clearly their lats are not their lats, like they're still placed in the top 3, and I'm like, what, you can't see that? And it's so it's happening. I think it gets knocked down a little bit. Like, I have seen people get bumped out, and it's not something I personally want to do. If people do it, and it's annoying, but if they do it, and it's I can't.
I think that eventually,
I can't tell the judges not to reward them.
Yeah, I feel like eventually, especially for the girls, because it's like, regardless of whatever, that back pose is the winning pose. All the rest of the pose, they all count, but that back pose is the winning pose. So I'm hoping that they can start like telling them like, hey, we know you got something back there, like, don't do that again, instead of like, even if they're not rewarding it, like, instead of like staying quiet, like, bring it up to them, like, we know there's something there, don't do it again.
I think that happened. I think some botched, kind of not looking too good ones in the politest way of not airing them on the internet. They didn't place well. Like they were like last, and I'm talking about like a winning physique that was going places, coming last. So it was pretty obvious.
I know who you're talking about.
It's kind of their stance. It was pretty obvious of their stance on it, kind of thing. So.
So do you see this in the future as a disqualification? They're gonna put it into the rules if it can be proven.
But I don't know.
I can't see it happening. It's
yeah, because
but if you're an athlete, how do you fix? You just have to wait till it dissolves, or
there's other fillers that dissolve it.
It depends like what they've put in there, I guess. Like what are they doing? What are they using? Are they using like natural and collagen enhancing stuff, or are they filling it with like PMMA, like filler, like stuff, or are they enhancing their own natural collagen production? Like, because there's new stuff all out there on the market, like nowadays and stuff. You see it on like the aesthetic pages that pop up and stuff, and it's filler, or is it just what are they like your PRP injection stuff, your own natural, like your own growth kind of thing? Are they using stuff like that? Which in any case, okay, you're enhancing your natural, but or are they putting silicone or hyaluronic outside agents into the physique kind of thing?
It's going to be very difficult to prove that someone has or doesn't have it unless they have a plastic surgeon on the panel.
Or people tell them what. It's not like a urinalysis. It's going to show up somewhere. So. I mean, X-rays, I don't know.
No, it's very hard. Like the fillers don't show up on X-rays. That's the thing. I don't know if you remember.
But people have done. They've like tried. They
when Dr. Sunny posted her X-rays.
Yeah,
you know, and she's like,
everybody
"Oh, I
was
don't
saying
have
she was
butt implants," and it's like, "Yeah, no, you don't have butt implants, but you got fillers, girl." So.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's very hard to prove it. So I feel like it's just going to be one of those things where if you're a judge and you just happen to catch it, like just keep it there in the back of your head, maybe share it to the other judges like, hey, I think this person has fillers, and then just judge accordingly.
Got you. So Kerry, how far is your flight from Germany to Poland? How far was it?
Oh, UK, about 2 hours. It took me from here to get to Poland.
Big difference. And then from there to Spain will be how far?
Well, that's probably like an hour and a half or something like that.
Oh, that's not bad.
So it's really better. Yeah.
America was like 9 hours.
Yeah, we definitely love you. It was not. Yeah, I was going to ask. Definitely love to see you more in the States, but yeah, I can understand that. Is water retention an issue with you when you fly?
No.
Okay.
Have you seen her?
I eat like one meal. I kind of eat like one meal and then I fast, so I don't eat on the plane. Otherwise, I would get water retention, but yeah, I fast on my flights.
Got you. And so your next show is Spain. Will you do another after that, or just gonna wait and see?
I would say that if I win, I'd have to speak to my coach and see if we wanted to like shut it down and then
because you got
or whether we want to like get more feedback at like another show, or is it beneficial or not beneficial to do another show? But yeah, if we don't get kind of the win we want, I've already got Amsterdam is my next one, so like the Euro Muscle sort of show lined up. That was already on my list anyway, so that's not too far from here. It's quite a short journey to Amsterdam. So
is bodybuilding love more overseas versus in the States, or what do you think?
No, in the States. Like I got the support and stuff I got in the States. Just the people talking to me and the support I got like at the airport and just generally was like they were just interested to know what I did. Whereas over here it's kind of like, I mean, what was it? I was getting my prep in 2023. I was like walking to the shop and it was summer and someone shouted steroids at me while I was walking.
Wow. That happened in the States? Where did that happen? Overseas or here in the States?
That was at home in the UK. I was just going to the shop in the summer and I had a vest on and it was like a pub that I walked past and they just shouted steroids at me.
What'd you say to them?
I just called him a drunk. I just said alcoholic.
Right, like the nerve of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's your next show, Melitza. Do you want to talk about what's up for? What's coming up for you, or no?
We going to Texas, baby.
Texas, the Texas Republic of Texas Pro.
Yes, Republic of Texas.
And that's on the 12th of
So,
July.
how
Yeah.
how did that happen, Glenn?
Well, your buddy, because I mean that was not approved by your manager, nor your coach.
No.
And but you can give that up to Yami. Is it Yami Patridge?
Yes.
Patridge?
Yeah, Yami Patridge.
And I mean, it's just like the Legion show, right? Everybody's got a set of shows that they want to do, and then others go well out on the West Coast versus the East Coast. This is a show you've never done a show in Texas, so could be different. Everybody's trying to get in front of the right judges, the Olympia judges, as much as possible.
Yep.
And so I think that plays a lot into what shows you do. But definitely going to be interesting there in Austin, Texas, on the 12th of July.
Yeah.
What do you feel
excited.
about it? It's been like 48 hours since you made the decision?
Yeah, just about.
And what was your?
You and Yami made the decision for me when she slid in your DMs.
Yeah, I know. Like, okay.
And then so I mean, I feel like I'm at a good place. I feel like I have a new coach now too. So I'm excited to see
Who's the other one? You got two coaches now?
No. Like I have because Kerry has a new coach now too.
Oh yeah. And we're gonna touch base on it because I mean, do you think having a coach that's near you versus overseas can play in better? Because the communication may not be as strong for whatever reason. Sometimes coaches work out, sometimes coaches don't because they know you better or they know the athlete better.
I don't think having a coach that's close or distant makes a difference as long as you are a responsible coach.
Kerry?
Yeah, as long as they you both do your job and you communicate, then it doesn't really matter where they are. Like as long as they're going to answer you and get back to you, then my coach in America are not 8 hours difference from me, and I still get my responsibility.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people. For example, Ricardo and Boss, they're like really big coaches too. Ludacris too. They have clients all over the world, and their clients do great. And I see the way that they are with their clients because some of my friends are their clients, and they're doing good at their shows, because the coach is responsive. The coach knows they're going to be on stage, and I need to make sure that no matter what I'm doing, I have my phone on me to make sure that my client who is paying me is good.
Right.
So yeah, I don't really think, I mean, is it nice to have your coach right there next to you? Of course, it's amazing, for them to be there, for you to know that I have someone next to me, but it's not necessary. And I feel like, especially nowadays, a lot of the people competing don't have coaches that are constantly there with them.
Yeah, I've had a coach, a UK coach, and he was great, and he came to shows, was there with me at shows and stuff like that. So I've had the treatment of having a coach there and distance, and there's no kind of difference as long as the coach is giving me what I need and replying. Sometimes it can be a little bit more pressure, I guess, when your coach is there, because then they're constantly seeing you and looking at you. Whereas when you've just got a second to check in and then you can sit back and chill out in your own space, you've not got to worry about your coach wants to look at you. And there was at Poland, there was people there without their coaches. There was people there with their coaches. And I will say that, people turned up late to things and they should have been there on time and they had a coach with them. So that's a poor failing on people that were there with a coach that should have had them in places on time. So
yeah.
Kerry, it's been great for you coming on. Glad to meet you. Love the accent. The last thing I would ask you is, do you have the Arnold's UK in your peripheral vision in the future?
Hopefully, yeah. I saw it pop up that it was already advertising the US and the UK.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if I get some good kind of feedback in that this year, then pop my name
And
in there.
FIBO has wellness as well. That's in Germany, right?
I think they just put it in. Was it just this year it went in?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we just had FIBO, so yeah, they just put wellness in.
Good stuff.
I think Asia's starting to do it now as well. I think I saw the Asia shows had popped up saying that they were having wellness this year as well. So like Tokyo and like stuff like that, and Korea and stuff like that.
And wellness is the perennial one that's making the money now. Everybody love it. Thanks to Wolfpack.
Everybody wants to be wellness.
That's it. Yeah. But everybody can't be wellness.
No.
Just like bikini was when bikini came out. Oh, I can do bikini, or I got a big butt, I can go do wellness. No, you can't. So anyway, appreciate you coming on, Melitza. Up to you.
Up to me. I'm done.
Yeah. You're done?
I'm done.
Really appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much.
Give me your last words on anything.
Who? Me? Her?
Both of you.
I'll see you in Texas, and we'll see her where? In Spain?
Yeah, see you at the Emperor.
There you go.
Spain. I'm rooting for you, girl.
Yeah, I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
Were you rooting for each other in Orlando?
Well, you know what's funny? I didn't even really like. It wasn't until like that.
We were across the other side of the room, and we were kind of like, is that like we'd seen on Instagram, so we were like, is that like the same person?
Yeah, so it wasn't until later on that I was like, wait, are you my teammate? And I noticed just because of her conditioning, because we had like the same pretty much
the two most conditioned people at the show.
Yes. But yeah, no, I'm definitely rooting for her.
Good stuff. All right, guys, we're going to close it out. Make sure that everyone, thanks, Kerry, Melitza. Wellness Wednesday with Melitza Guerrero, Kerry McManus, IFBB Pro. Both of them competed in Orlando. Make sure you continue to follow these two athletes, as it's going to be exciting as they're both up to their fourth show. So we'll see how all this works out. And again, always subscribe to amazonsfitmag.com. Celebrate the female physique. Appreciate everyone's following as we continue to grow the channel on YouTube as well as on the website. And, of course, continue to grow Wellness Wednesday with Melitza Guerrero. Till next time, we'll talk soon.